Chedan zoje zonam la janju bardo dani gyabson je ndake jinso jebe zonam je ndola benje sanje ndobora isho sanje chedan zoje zonam la janju bardo dani gyabson je ndake jinso jebe zonam je dola benje sanje ndobora isho ye judan zoje zonam la janjo bardo dani gyapson je lage jenso jebe zonam di dola benje zanje do baraisho. From now on till enlightenment, I take refuge in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha, and by the merit created in this practice, may I attain the state of Buddhahood for the benefit of all sentient beings. From now on till enlightenment, I take refuge in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha, and by the merit created in this practice, may I attain the state of Buddhahood for the benefit of all sentient beings. From now on till my enlightenment, I take refuge in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha, and by the merit created in this practice, may I attain the state of Buddhahood for the benefit of all sentient beings.
이것이 채워가고 랑 로정 된데만 듬바규라랑 서저서 숨어레스 다들 가르친 거래 말한서 초숨네 때바지에 나한다 줄로 간다 때바지 연대가라 즉 미망 제지 루이기 남기르데 시오 인도 가보지 난 셈기다니 즉 하게 유도한테 잠만도 전에니 주비중인 삼지 천바지가 다때 삼진디가 말해스 때니 하게 중알 제월자발라 셈기다니 뇨모 밤에하스니 듬바기르즈데 즉 오늘 뇨모인데 강을 중에 랑 진진 중리 랑 진진 중디가라 랑 진진 로된 torchi 만남 진진 젠 진진 아니 즉 된지 가져라 삼무당초도 규화당 우리스 루이게 군제 규화당 또 말에 샘기 군제디 규화당 소레세 소레 아니 루이게 군제디 만막한데 나때 랑사자 안 되게 있어 뭐도 숨고 이거라 디땅원에 뉴모는 님부 때문에 줄로 지나는다 샘는 규제다는데 쉬우지게 첨부치는 숨고 알았어
In the text by Geshe Chekawa, one of the mind training texts, he mentioned that there is a sentence in which he says, change your aspiration or attitude and live as it is. What he refers to here is change your way of thinking, change your mind, but do not necessary to change your way of physical behavior. So commonly what we find among a different faith and religion or practices is that when people consider themselves as a practitioners, they try to express that transformation, that identity through physical appearances, maybe dresses, costumes, way they behave. But that is not the main focus of the practice from Buddhist perspective. And here this great practitioner says that without changing your mind, without changes within your mind, the changes at the appearance level is not enough. And so because without changing your mind, we cannot really attain the ultimate the objective, which is the happiness of the mind here. And so say if the appearance, the way the robe that you wear, or whatever identity of the costume that you have. If inside your mind, if there's nothing changed, say you have the same attitude of afflictions or defilements or delusions, that will lead to furthermore destructive emotions, such as the one that we are talking at this point in the text, a self-cherishing thought. So with that kind of self-cherishing thought, or ego mind, it doesn't matter how much you change your physical appearance or behavior. It is not going to lead anywhere else. So he is suggesting here that we need to change that kind of thought or attitude into such as other cherishing thoughts, altruistic mind. And so the emphasis here in Buddhist practice is really kind of focusing on changing our way of thinking or attitude, and not so much about physical behavior or kind of physical appearances.
New Singitani, Juchitane, Kakayore, Semitani, Numotani, Dungalde, Dungal Jicheyore, Shi Luki Dungaldan, Nan Semgitani, Dungaldina, Nan Semi Dungaldi, Chichagi, Jiche in Bada, Musum Chituchadi, Maranzo, Samo Madana, Samudana Hakoya Chali, Maranzo, Trogotana, Chuzokashi Zosimchituro. Control line, Tematato control the Giovanna Sunday, Golokanga Sanamado, you go control the Jardim, Golokanga Cesar, the Richidare. Jane Day in the Gola, no such chain, but get somebody. What's the Indugala? Semitani, Pagi, Numula, Chick, Dojar, Control, my gallery, Tigitilla, and Indian Sem. What a chick, Denny, Zeran. Shivujita Nasab Chimbuchadia, what a tiggity can't see got to do. That the chick Mikey gonna don't with him Niheki Tapsi. And it better than to Mazagi Tapsi, what a number you need. Is a shake your Tindugala, Tisu, Muni Dicevena, Sementan Tassimbi, and Bay. You won't take it 10 years. Tablam Jisungwar. What a thing, Digala? Chick. The Jun Samji Mare, when a ranking Yamin Jena, with Setela, Tindipe, Migo Chola, and Shragi, Shuchumbo, Mamom Shushu yon there, Yamin Chigi, said the like, Chick Semela, and a bay, Zang Doya, and a bay, Miyawacha, and look, don't you see in the Chadia? What a thing, Digala? Susugi, da Pagi, Dewan Dugiana, Numula Kapicha, she was catching Bore. What a thing, Dugala, Numun, Seade, Sem Ratu Majua, Sem Trupercheva, Sem Naldo Mindigin Minegina, Numonsigor, number Sangi. What a thing, Dugala, Maranzo Numongi, Chick, Pagi, Guatata, Len Tubru, Matubra. No more killing the Mother Chiganga to Kanga, that no way cut I
So in changing our mind or way of thinking, there are different ways, technique, method, and when we are changing about our mind or way of thinking or attitude, we are really talking about the afflictions or defilements or destructive emotions. So in terms of its kind of intensity, it is much more heavier than, in terms of consequences, much more heavier than the physical level of suffering. For example, when you compare such as merely kind of physical pain or suffering, such as suffering from just hunger, we can remain quite some time having not food, and there is a gap between suffering itself and its result. But when you look at the same sort of happening at the level of mind, for example, if you are under the influence of very strong hatred or anger, it's not like getting hungry and then you are waiting. The impact or the influence or the result comes so immediately, so quickly, and only when you have done everything, then you feel sort of regret that I shouldn't have done that under that anger or hatred. So in terms of quickness of the producing the result, there's a great differences between physical level pain and suffering and the mental. And so here, when we talk about mental, we are talking about obviously, negative or destructive emotions such as hatred, anger, jealousy, arrogance, a sense of competition. Because these destructive emotions or negative emotions are something which becomes main obstacle for us to attain, happiness or joy of the mind. And so in Buddhism, what we try to do is we try to study about these different emotions, beginning with identifying what these are, truly are, and then how not to generate or how not our mind get influenced by these destructive emotions. And if we can, how can we eliminate all of this from its very root completely? If not, how can we at least suppress these negative emotions? And these are the things that we find in Buddhist text. Having said that, when we're studying this and when we listen or read, we don't treat this understanding just like kind of reading a story or entertainment. We take this as something very serious, and because when you engage in these kind of practices in transforming our mind, it is very practical that we see the result. There are lots of examples of people who through this kind of training becomes much better human being, much more kind-hearted human being. And so the basic point here is that if we want happiness, peace of mind, then we need to challenge these destructive emotions that is within us. And the word that we use is afflicted mind or delusions or ignorance. Whatever word that we use, whether we get a real understanding of this term or not, but the point is that we all have an experience. When we say afflicted emotions or delusions or defilement, it refers to the state of mind which is really disturbed, uncomfortable, bring us pain and suffering. So we all have experiences of what it means by disturbed mind or afflicted minds or defilements.
Tati indigala tat nyumu chola pagi mitin cho en nyumu mitin cho zambe samlo kareki yume koda tigde shegure ani nyumu sindegi rangla nyo thone kandeji nugiyo de shegure di shini tende gi ta nyumu la tene dungal den mindena nyumu tachindu ngoda chebegone meazo tam du midul tagure du su cholje jedegala tangone ta chik lobjon na masal ji chenpo shibuji chadi yore ko 통야 명예 지 취지라 다직 삼리탄이 유진기 돈이 다지 대 뭐다 지구로 와 하고 고국으로 와 배는 루젠존이나 즉 가서 왕병 좀 줄이긴데가 니네 삼삼지 용거로 와 루젠이나 주 타모타모도 즉 셀고단다 따지 된배 고 체로단에 배 된들 단에 뭐다 쳐야 된디 배양 책임망부 당구도 단다 13로데 랑경요에 카타야지 아니 첼dengi 융되는 나라 아니 배 융랑 걸든 명에 된들이 이치지 아니 냠는지야 답배 되라 도는지야 제가 지루듯이 융 10번에 진짜 된된 편다 용거래 아니 나랑 통원기로 많이 매지 망고야 남비중에 중세 공교세야 신도 공교세야 어디 중세 공교생인데 다다 규제를 때니 하고 해지라 즉예 이제봐 처음에 유리인 게지라 중세 공교생이 와래 어디 신도 공교생인데 된다왜 즉 딜레니 배 차치니 아니 양신나 통야메게 유전나 봄이 두긴 다 오늘 캠비 이신 냐지기 줄인데게 뭐다 되게 좀 되게다 걸두면네게 된디지 돈에 되니 이치다네 로야지다 디차로 와래 어때 된디 이거라 또 오늘 나랑도 로정 제약이 최대 지침부 차대요 이따 다가서 내려가지 땐자와니는 말해 보다 된디 이거라 띵상 지 나랑도 무슨 일도 많이 망보지 또 미투비야 된디 리지 남배중이 아니 세겨 세번나진지 냠는잖아 수술라 팬도 연구하다 이게 저기 한다 즉 뇨에 카다야 어떤 수 연구하래 나 진상 라조 연구도 와 천리빈 케니가 가서 거기 모비지 따간도 되가라 이 마음이 줄바다 되게 되라 아니 배 몸께서 운중을 더네 대 몸락바락바래 운중을 더네 되는시게 같이 팬도 연구도 다들 뭐니 중에 세번나진지 우 레나도 그래서 우도 우 하바진 텐데 랭도 슈춤보 텐데 텐데 말에 우대 앞에 잠보 러버링보 노 실내야 아니베 러티가라 타가나 아마칸데렌 테나진 파땅또 신데나 텐덴 기로와 연구 텐덴 해도 연구를 어때서 뭐는 알아서 시고야 아니 되레 실루 기로와 땅 거야 요 말에 라랑 그 줄로 되지 운주고 또 곰게야래 아니 서로와 곰게야래 계속 가서 통모 차려 뱀미스비 아버야래 어때 되게 두스지나 펜도 연구도 어때 쉬울게 침모래 아니 뉴몬생 때는 돌는 저거 쉬울게 침모래 말한서 롱알 민대케 대wan 대응이 미 남자 여 인사 즉 뉴몬은 돌는 지야돼 대침부 쉬우 차디가래
So in kind of challenging destructive emotions or afflicted emotions or delusions or defilements, we need to understand then what are the opposite of all of these destructive emotions. So here comes the importance of the positive thoughts or positive emotions, and in understanding, as we mentioned before, all those destructive emotions or defilements, we need to understand the identity, the nature of those destructive emotions, and how those destructive emotions are basically destroying us, destroying our mind, or harming our mind. And of course, when we experience those destructive emotions, automatically that leads to a feeling of not wanting, not suffering from those afflicted emotions, and with that kind of experiences, we come to the point where we try to adopt a technique or method and apply those within our mind, to eliminate, to suppress these destructive thoughts. So in a sense, the subject that we are studying is something profound. We are talking about transformation of the mind. We are talking about mind, thought, and so basically we are talking and practicing about something that is not seen by our eyes, and so here comes kind of two important points. The first one is these are the things that we all can experience. So we can deal this through our own experiences. So it's something kind of experiential thing. The second kind of more important is using analysis, examination when we try to deal with all these different emotions. So these are the two kind of ways or approach that we have. And in under the reason comes how do you use reasoning or analysis. As mentioned before, one is based on your own experiences, because we all have experiences of what these things are. And the second is relying upon what we call a valid text or teachings. And what we are dealing with here is, as we mentioned before, that we don't see attitude or thought or emotions. And so these are not like the things or object with form and shape that otherwise we can study very easily by looking at them. And even if things that have shape and form, even at very small, smallest form, we can use a microscope and other instruments to understand what they truly are. But however, we don't have those options when we are studying and understanding about the nature of our mind or emotions. And so from that perspective, as you know, in Buddhism, we categorize the entire phenomena into three kind of group. The first phenomena, what we call, things that can be perceived by our senses. We see, touch, feel, smell. But then those are called manifested phenomena. The second level of the phenomena or things, or the way they exist, what we call are slightly hidden. Those are the things that we cannot be directly perceived by our senses, but however we can prove their existence by using a reasoning or analysis or examinations. Then there are third level of the way things exist, and what we call in Buddhism extremely slightly hidden. The third one is extremely hidden phenomena. Those were the things that exist, but we cannot we cannot to prove their existence. It is beyond our reasoning, beyond our drug perception, conceiving of through our senses. So, and in Buddhism, we consider those things were known only by what we call omniscient mind or enlightened mind. Those are basically beyond. So when we look at how things exist out there, there could be many different ways. And so again, as we mentioned earlier, we are studying something that is not, cannot directly seen by our eyes or senses by our sensory level, organs of consciousness. So again, it becomes much more profound, much more difficult. And nowadays, this understanding or the importance of this understanding becomes much more clearer. Even we see discussions of this different emotional emotion or consciousness or thought or attitude. We even see common ground with the scientific understanding and studies. And Gujarat was sharing an example of a couple of days back he went to watch a movie about meditation in meditation that is used in Mami language.
Mami Zurbadan, Pu Chunjun Tendela, research David Richardson.
So I think he's talking about the research on contemplative practice, which is actually a meditation that was led by one of the great scientists, David Richardson, and he used as a subject the practitioners like army and young children, and how in that movie he was showing how meditation of which is breathing meditation basically, which is considered as a very kind of gross or easy level of meditation generally in Buddhist practice. So, but still, using that kind of contemplative practice or meditation, focusing on breathing, exhaling and inhaling, can bring great transformation, changes, benefits for those subjects. And when you engage in these kind of practices, using your physical senses or maybe using your own experiences, definitely there's no need for changing your faith. You can maintain whatever tradition or faith or religious belief that you have, but you can use this technique to attain what you want, basically, and to get the benefit, to take advantages of this technique. And the point here, as we mentioned before, is basically how can we, from all different ways and technique, to challenge destructive emotions or negative thoughts. And so the reason here is, as we always say in Buddhism, we all have a basic common desire not to suffer and wanting happiness. We are all same on this level, and then as a human being and possessing this great human intelligence, we should be using this human ability to attain what we want.
안다 줄루세나 다지 간줄루 간데지노 무마 줄루테데티기 덤베 파기 숭는데가라 미테 상고치 소야게 미 레바디 야코디 장구당에게 탑람을 숭을 마도 줄루신데 직 가소래 담보치 에네 소속이 때마다 전다 말해서래 가샤 제 장장라다 땐 싸워님 수나 말해 뒤니 여름 승도 즉 전선 당보대 미민도 시대 깨쳐버려 있어 나도 강가 미임바 찡귤임바 왔다 때 동바기 천도가 개발하면 되게 이 결합지대 농쟁이 개발하면 되게 대신 미중규비 삼도 거래스 대신은 무슨 도와 미중규비 삼으시려나 아랑도 미열도 가래 미생데 셀레지 간데스 주고도 세디가 다 줄루기네 즉 잠들 때야다 아니 소셈치야다 아니 즉 바게 소설지야다 왔다 되게 덤바강간 숨고도 왔다 뒤 가르는 미대 상부용어야게 탑시 되리 뒤리가라 딱 가는 줄단다 중대 미상부시용어게 탑람 땡겨를 마도 니지 낭바마도 전다 다 조금 말서 깨지대 땐 싸워니는 말이 낭비중이 생이 전다 냠는지네 저 낭바 인심이 지고 말서리 가오지 nem보지 숭도 가르친 숭도 아래 어디 뒤인데가라 줄루 강가로 그바지 라랑 그 줄루는 대바지 그래서 내가 첨보래 민습에 깨침보래 어디 뒤인데가라 뒤는 아주 셔야기 중대 다에 가서래 장주 sem종제데 답에 중배 첨보 쉬우시샤가래 다이네 견아서 사발렌데 근데도 또서 가서 올레레 차례 지첨보래 아니 돈은 기미바 어디 뒤강을 레디어래 아니 란친징이 견 시대라 녀몽이 견 다야 아니 전친징이 연된 시대 아니 니지 싸와지비 장주기 셈스리 젠든 쿠르티기바 랑레 젠조 제기 삼로지레 장주기 셈스기 와래 오다 텐데위 셈데 야르게 땅야 돈달라 아니 직 돈이 미보고니 니치디라 아니 돈이 미바체야다 돈이 미베 파인데 진짜래 아니 돈이 미바체와라 아니 느낀지든 당줄다 아 주긴지든 당줄다 느낀지든 당줄 니여베다니 아니 주긴지든 당줄디 차르차르 다 느낀지든 당줄 간에 있는데 되게 시제가 이만보 디다 또슬로 아니 가서 예 되는 사바마인자 까자 도스치는 만체 딜린제나 상도시
whatever faith or religion um, uh, that we find on this earth, um, and when we look at the teachings of the great, the founding spiritual teachers, what we find here is that they all gave their own teachings in order to further kind of develop or basically make better the human, way of thinking. They all basically talk about the same things: the greatness of all positive emotions, and becoming how to become a better person. And so, if you interpret, faith and religion and tradition as something kind of, or interpret or understand something that makes your mind more narrow, and to bring sort of raise up contradictions, maybe philosophically or theoretically with others, then definitely that is not actually the real purpose of different faith and traditions. So here, His Holiness the Dalai Lama talks about the way of thinking. He raised the importance of first of all bringing all of ourselves onto one same platform. He talks about as a human being, understanding that we are all same human being, regardless of ethnicity, nationality, races. And so that thought is very very kind of important at the fundamental level. We are all just same human being. And once we have that understanding strongly kind of established within our way of thinking, then that will take to the second level of seeking then what is good for all of us as a human being. And under that comes the importance of love, kindness, compassion, patience, all those the greatness of positive thought that we find in different tradition or religion or faith. And under that comes the what we see, the diversity of faith or tradition or religion. And so again, what we find here is that all of those traditional faith or religion exist in order to make us basically a better human being. And each has a different ways of showing their own method, technique. And so what we find, the common thing is that the all traditions or religions or faith are basically for us to make a better human being, or better, or more kind-hearted human being. And so therefore, when you study such as this text that we are studying, mind training, like the rays of the sun. Of course, you can study this as somebody without any faith in religion. One doesn't need to be a believer in order to study a Buddhist text. And when you look at others, through Buddhist perspective, we talk about showing a respect to all faith and religion, but maintaining, if you're a believer, your faith and trust in your own tradition. And so at this point, in the text we are talking about, the text itself, mind training, as it says, the title of the text, the mind training like the rays of the sun. We're talking about the practice of altruistic mind or awakening mind. And again, as we mentioned earlier, this practice is considered as a very profound, intense practice. And under that, kind of topic, more specifically, we are talking about, the practice of giving and taking. And the giving and taking, so you were saying for the newcomers, you came sort of in the middle of the book, but some kind of the outline of what we covered before. We talked about the text talked about understanding the negative impacts of this negative thought, what we call self-cherishing thought or ego mind, and negative impacts of ego mind, and then the text deals with the importance of the opposite of that ego mind, which is other cherishing thought. And under the other cherishing thought, we talk about altruistic mind, which is very much rooted in the practice of compassion or compassionate mind, and then kind of practicing other cherishing thought, benefiting others. So then kind of how to exchange these two, ego mind and other cherishing thought. And one way of technique or practice that we are currently studying, the particular section here is the practice of giving and taking, and under that we talk about giving and taking through visualizations, and we talked about the target of this practice and what are the benefits, and in giving practice through visualizations, it is further kind of categorized into giving to the sentient beings that exist within the this world, and then it also talks about practice of giving through visualizations to the environment where we live, so environment and the sentient beings. And so Geshe said we will continue with the reading from the text, and the giving or offering to sentient beings. We finished that part. The giving to the inhabitants, which refers to the living beings, and then second one is the environment. So we finished the first one, which if you have come to earlier teaching has several sub classifications. Now we said we will continue with the reading of the text from the giving to the environment or offering to the environment.
Nipa nola tangwe tsunis rari lui ijingi luigi number chujinji dengi kam ta mumeba negi jing namla tangwe is negi jiten matabe rongtum serma gyomo sema ngandro yansa tala soba matabe ne tamche negyu is ta samlena ko ne samlena negyu is negi jiten kam tamche rimboche naso rajin laltil tang nyambas thatu chewa yamba renan jamjin dewa tima meching esawa zanden dulki nimbu disungdal demba le meto nasoki saldo tamba tar rimboche pagwitsepa sertang multang mutiki cheme temburu talwa upalatang kumuntada pema jinji gildembe kangba chuja naso ke nyembarndoba tajing gajing chola dirwe yembe yela yedang dembanam chotang zingdang denkata ke zebra jeba sobi jingphum sobar gyurdes oda sangi jansen pape chonamla chubi phum sobar samjing oda dos samudane 직 samudava ina kare kebariyare susu nedela 직 tubraka tsejina susu ngone tendish samudandene semla toso tonangleya tekileya oda temaimba tatungdu sungdoa tajing tekiti enepe tandanga sun gidena sun dos chede nendigala bejeyewa laltir nyam jamboyendenge tendi기 다진기 jinkoba kebar진 ten디 망보진 제시ken nangdoa oda tenajin지 산다 소소니나 배 jin디기 도시 인삼데 데바이나 규르지 삼는 도스타이나 수semna tosu toale야다 수semna tosu 딜레야지 텐디 용고아래 가지 미저베 용고아 말에 다 박이니 통엔데 때 지것도 있는 때 삼다는 수semna 미저벨레가 미저벨레데 따로 텔레 동알 치는 거고 와 간지 니기데 삼노단단데 lungal zo nangla lungal ji yuen de chung tan ge samro tu sre yam mengen jire ze loshi samro tene ngona mare ta kanchi tablam de susi semla lungal chung ro ge tablam te think ore
If you have a page, textbook, we are on page 67, our last paragraph on that page, giving to the environment which beings inhabit. To offer our bodies to the environment beings we live in, we send them forth to infinite worlds within the 10 directions in the aspect of wish-fulfilling jewels. Transform all impure environments filled with decayed logs, thorn, bushes, sand, crevices, cliffs, and so forth into wonderful pure lands in the nature of various precious stones, as level as the palm of your hand, open, extensive, and smooth to touch, stainless and bright, perfumed with sandalwood, scattered with celestial flowers, and fenced with jewels. They are filled with powdered gold, silver, and pearls, and covered with utpala, which is kind of flower, lily, and lotus flowers. They are beautiful lakes, pools, and ponds containing water possessing the 8 pleasing qualities, over which fly different kinds of water birds singing sweetly, enhancing the scene. Think that these constitute magnificent clouds of offerings to assemblies of Buddha and exalted bodhisattvas, and that they do not for a moment provide the slightest cause for pride, arrogance, or conceit in the beings who inhabit and enjoy the pleasures of these bodies. Think that, on the contrary, they realize enlightenment due to such favorable conditions. So, what you see here is, as the word says, visualizing the environment where we live into something kind of extraordinarily beautiful and pleasing, and then offerings to kind of, it says, assemblies of Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, and it is really kind of visualizing the environment, especially the practitioners. Usually, kind of when they are getting negative influence or energy from the environment where you live, for the sake of your own happiness or your own purpose, you visualize and you transform mentally the environment you live into something, as described here, very pure, clean, without any sense of all those afflicted environments at all. And as mentioned in the earlier part of the teachings, when you do that, the part of the reason here is accumulations of what we call positive merits, and it also brings a sense of calmness, relax, or happiness, and through that it can reduce the level of suffering or uncomfortableness that comes in related with the environments.
어떻게 수수료이 규제도 쓰나 손을 참지 사고래. 안테 마체베 뭐니 주기 전에나 말한소다 데 계사데 데베네 차대요. 주도 주메 에닌 돌라티기 데 라티츠라 뭐네 계삼이니 에 라이요래. 에 메토단 기초 냠도 기디니 메토단 답에 초다 징부다 주진다 데리페 dumrala soba tilipe chik nyamdo geyung korwa zuki chado mancheji wata tendi iligala dela kurwe negi latidra tendi yenden yena anita dashin tendi yasa chanchu sebe anipe ronchu sinela teli kyang mimi goba chik chado yore wata tendi ke kebar chigri wata dus chini samlodade puli ina soso ngone 직 아니 맞아 다 룸바 젠진이 온 댕이니야 드롱 애리조나 진데 베 메돌 dumrada 티게디 토나 이미 깨야지도 기주 따로 데라 텔레야가 테니 베 주도 주멜 텔레 다 주멜라다 같이 시야마 다 주글 라라 텔레야가 테 주라나 스케네산 중이 파베네산 나요 파베네산 나도 텔리간 차이게 야고 요데 그 에메 같이 시야 거나요 말 게스게도 뭐 요요래 와다 도스지 디가라 도스스 삼루이 좀 맞아다 내줄 가가지 삼루이 좀나 와다 가리나 답에서는 맞으나 무슨 샤다 이기 둘세 숨도 와다 되게 지 용거라 상기 찬선 밥에 초탐지 집에 띵기 풍부 전부 더불 삼진 진때다나 예배 쥐기 심전라 대터 대터비 풍부 쳐봐 나갈당 야바당 제과 중에 힌두 계지경 마성진 장주 주비 튕긴 샤다 중얼 삼 세워다들이 대마도 즉 소소히 마이 엉안 되지 나갈 제과 킹바 디기 깨나 야 미가 누구 보라 되네 많이 봐 쉬는 봐 레벨처럼 봐 유로 에도 어떤 도스진 제거라 했어 어다 되게 궁대 전주나 탐제드니 사지다 사말라서 매바이 랄디 땅에 맨루야 란진 정보 내교지 세와다 위cen군기 자당니 신당 어즈 탐제다 남카 레경 최긴자 유미처럼 배버셔 세와다도 도스고라 말아서 즉에 진 카시 다신 된데라 애니베 준심 조신 룽구꾸란 뒤제 미타바다 멘다 아니 추긴자 된데베 용부하래 어다 되게 소소 유몽 가져지 슈충을 제 차치리 아니 다난 되게디 고 냠는 세트보여는데 근데 된디 치에 열어서 송도와 어다 디 개지게다 뭐 어다 된데기 공부하시고 거래 어다 때만이 방아서 내사데 느낀 지태는 마템반 내사코랑 요마와 내사에디 느낀 지텐데랑 아주 제대 제거하지 오늘 규정이 돈이 차고 와래 남배 좀 먹보니까 니존이 말한 또 단다 가르쳐 오래 코리우 숨표 단 대화 땡땡 온 거래 보다 때만이 봐뭐 람림나라 저희 추주선 당부 내가 지도를 잡기도 와 지도를 잡고 짱라 트는 대화레인 것도 와 보다 때인도가라 즉 말한 좀 짱라 트는데 시부지 깨친다 하고 와래 아니 그리고 숨겨대 시부지 깨친부 차고 오다 되게 뭐즉 말한 좀 주변 인디민까지 시야 코라요 말에 맞아 제야 말 가서 자만이야 또나 대야요 오다 되게 저대 손이지래 오다 두스지네 같이 삼리나네 가서 툭툭지 된지 땅에나 소소로 또 스팽겨래 아니 그 라산 남다기 즉 파게 있다도 소수이 삼레톤이 규르지 된지 피투구야나 민문 배선이 소나만 랍첨부 살고 와래 어떻게 돼 시부지 개첨버리
So, the here we see the practice of what we call the practice of generating a pure vision, basically, transforming environment where we live into something pure or clean, and in Buddhist understanding, one way of classifications of the realms. There are three: desire, form, and formless realm. And we are considered under the realm of desire. And when you compare desire realm with the form and formless realms are more considered as the realms of realms where sentient beings are born through what we call miracles, not like human, we born from womb, and so they inborn with all kinds of beautiful or magnificent facilities, such as like flowers, beautiful environments, and but that is not the case with the desire realm, or especially the human. And so one way what we see here is we are really, through our visualizations, transforming all of these environment where we live into something as we mentioned before, beautiful, pleasing, sweet, and then kind of offering. As we see here, the thing that these constitute magnificent clouds of offering to assemblies of Buddhas and exalted Bodhisattvas, and they do not for a moment provide the slightest cause of pride, arrogance, conceit in the beings who inhabit and enjoy the pleasures of these bodies. So whatever things that exist in where we live, we visualize those not in any sense becoming a cause of afflicted emotions or destructive emotions. And again here what we are doing is basically kind of creating this kind of huge offering through our way of thinking or our visualization. Pure vision, somebody who kind of engage in these kind of practices and reach a quite high level, it is also said that they can hear teachings from when wind blows through kind of forest, when there's a kind of rustling of the tree, branches of the tree, they can have understanding of impermanence. They get the message, even though there's nobody out there, but through the changes of impermanence, they can get special messages or teachings. And there's further kind of quotation, or based on the same understanding, cite from Shantideva's book, The Guide to the Bodhisattva's Way of Life. May everywhere the earth be pure, free from stones and pebbles, live level as the palm of my hand, and smooth as the nature of aquamarine. May all embodied beings uninterruptedly hear the sound of the doctrine issuing from birds, trees, beams of light, and even from space. So the another understanding is that as we mentioned earlier, the importance of the clean environment or healthy environment, because once you're born, there is no other than this kind of earth. So we have basically no choice to deal with our own environment. So it's better to have a healthy, clean environment. And for that purpose, we see in many Buddhist practice, such as stages of path, lamrim, seven limb offering. In lamrim practice, when you do meditation, it begins with the cleaning and sanitation of place where you are going to do your meditation. We find that the importance of healthy, clean environment at the very fundamental kind of level practices. So of course, there's a great benefit if you can do kind of this kind of practice, visualization and offering to Buddhas and enlightened beings. But if not, at least kind of maintaining, the cleanliness or the sanitations of environment, and that is, of course, really kind of practically something helpful. We'll take a break here, 15 minutes break.